In Fallout 4, you can commit manslaughter to your heart's content with your preferred method. My preferred method is usually dropping another set of nukes on the Commonwealth, but sometimes I prefer the hint of a rocket-propelled sledgehammer. But this time, my preferred method of boundless murder is running. That's right, nothing but the power of my thunder thighs will allow me to complete the entirety of Fallout 4 by only running. But how is this challenge even possible? Last time I checked, people don't spontaneously combust after completing a 100-meter lap. You see, the only reason why this challenge is at all possible is because of this one perk, all the way at the bottom left corner of the skill tree, called Pain Train. What Pain Train does is allow me to stagger and damage enemies when I run into them with power armor. So for most of the game, this will be our main source of damage. But if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe. I do a lot of different challenge runs for many different games, and I'd appreciate it if you joined me on my journey. Now first things first, we have to make a character that runs a lot. So who better than the fastest man alive? So with nuclear war steadily arriving, I set my stats with a primary focus into strength, take my wife and kid, and have us all cryo-frozen. My child gets kidnapped and my wife gets murdered, leaving me as the last one standing. I'm sure it was better for the gene pool anyways. But our first problem comes in the form of giant cockroaches. These rad roaches are usually a non-issue, but remember, we can't kill any of them without power armor. And to make matters worse, the game refuses to let me progress while they're still hostile to me. So if we can't kill them, all we have to do is lead them away from us. So I rally up the infestation and have them move to the previous room. Luckily for me, insects can't use door handles, and that allows me to pick up the Pip-Boy and head out into the Commonwealth. You know what time it is. Scrap that settlement! With the entirety of Sanctuary converted into 1,500 shelves, we gain 14 levels. The first one is put into Pain Train, and with our source of damage confirmed, we put the next levels into Armorer to upgrade our power armor, Life Giver and Toughness to increase our survivability, and finally, Action Boy to increase the rate at which we gain back AP. And even though we have our perks ready, we cannot head into Concord yet. We have two last things to find: fusion cores and a suit of power armor. Fusion cores are surprisingly abundant to find, with the first one being found right outside Sanctuary in a mole rat den. Power armor, although less abundant, is still not at all a hassle. So heading east of Sanctuary, using my super speed to run past a group of enemies, I head into the robotics disposal ground and get stuck in a car window. So I do the run again, and this time I find a set of T-51 power armor with a fusion core, or at least half a set of it. But that doesn't matter. All we really need is the frame of the power armor to do damage. So with the entire loadout ready for action, I head to Concord to test out my new fit, and by running into the raiders, we can deal a grand total of almost no damage at all. Yeah, this is going to be my special hull. And what's strange about the damage of this charge attack is that instead of doing a large amount of damage, it steadily drains HP, which is an odd design choice. But who am I to judge Todd Howard's creative wisdom? What also makes this attack great is that if you listen closely, there is a subtle audio cue that marks when you have hit your target. Once all of the raiders were turned into roadkill, Preston invites us into the building, where I discover that I hate being indoors. The tight corners and narrow passages hinder my ability to sprint, and thus hinder my ability to kill enemies. After a long struggle, however, Preston lets us through for us to claim another suit of power armor. This T-45 power armor is a bit weaker than the T-51, but at least it's a full set, so we can take the right arm and leg of the T-45 for full protection. It's time for the big boy, the Deathclaw. I was expecting to do negligible damage at first, but in actuality, it's even worse than that. I don't even think I saw the health bar move down a couple pixels. Although we do meaningless damage, the Deathclaw can turn this damage into nothing by grabbing us out of our charge. And with only 3 stimpaks to my name, I can't out-heal his damage. But luckily for us, there are bandits around to distract him, which gives me an opportunity to attack him without him grabbing me. So with our backshot strat in play, the Deathclaw eventually demolishes all of the bandits, until only I was left. With no other options, I decide to use my legs differently, not for running, but for landing. If we drag the Deathclaw to the side of this building, we can quickly climb the stairs and essentially Goomba stomp the Deathclaw for a large burst of damage. I will be allowing this because technically I am still using my body weight in power armor to kill enemies. I eventually run into the Deathclaw's face one last time and finish it off for good. Throughout that entire fight, we burned through nearly all of our fusion cores. So we are going to have to restock. And to do that, I go out by myself. No power armor, no weapons, just me and my flashy red dress. A few fusion cores are easy to find, such as the one at the back of a drive-in theater. Others are a bit more problematic, such as the fusion core found in a ghoul-infested supermarket. Yeah, this situation probably could have been easily avoided. And a couple of them are pretty much impossible, such as the Deathclaw Pit. But while we were going fusion core hunting, we come across the Old North Church, which is the not-so-secret base of the railroad, but it's protected by 1. A horde of feral ghouls, and 2. An intricate riddle. And since I can't kill the ghouls without power armor, that means it's going to be a bit of a struggle for us to get in. Luckily for us, an entire set of T-51 power armor with a fusion core can be found right outside the church. So with 7 total fusion cores to our name, we can now re-enter the church and commit vehicular ghoul slaughter. So we solve the world's easiest password and enter the railroad headquarters, where I'm greeted with open arms. We will come back to them. But for now, let's focus on saving our son. So I head down into a subway station and greet the local mafia. With higher level enemies now starting to pop up more often, our damage is starting to fall off. Now we will need around 5 hits just to finish off 1 mobster. This room with only 5 mobsters took me around 5 minutes to fully clear. And there are many more rooms ahead of us, full to the brim with mobsters. The only course of action left?
I can't stop. I can't stop. I can't stop. I can't stop.
After running past the entire cast of The Godfather, Dino is the last target that stands in our way, and the only one that we are required to kill. There's not much we can do besides just running into him and hiding, as the pain train mechanic apparently has a 6-second cooldown before we can hit them again. Worse yet is that the charging mechanic is also bugged, as sometimes when we charge at an enemy, it plays the ear-bursting metal clang sound, yet it deals none of the damage. So after a frustratingly long fight, I finally put him to rest and rescue Nick Valentine. Time to leave the vault, and after ramming mobsters for a good 10 minutes, we encounter Skinny Malone. This time, with our charisma lower than our damage, we weren't able to talk our way out of this. And our power armor also didn't feel so good and practically vanished, leaving us with almost no protection at all. I would say this was a long and hard fight, but it wasn't hard. I had collected enough stimpacks from the bodies of the mobsters to sustain me for a long time, and Skinny Malone had enough fat to keep him protected from 2 tons of metal crashing into him. And after many minutes of donk after donk after donk after donk after donk, he falls down on his knees, and I put him to bed. This fight only cost me my entire set of power armor. So I meet up with Valentine in Diamond City, and he tells me about the man who killed my gorgeous wife. Kellogg is his name, and he is one hell of a threat. So I'm going to have to increase my level, but this time, I'm not going to use the statue glitch I used in the last Fallout episode. I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. The Fallout way. Thou shalt get sidetracked by bullshit every goddamn time. This includes exterminating synths with the Brotherhood of Steel, saving synths with the Railroad, and coming across a battalion of Enclave soldiers. I completely forgot that this was in the game, as with the release of the Fallout show, Fallout 4 got a content update, which added the Enclave. And along with the Enclave comes the Hellfire power armor. This is a massive upgrade from the T-51 set, but we are going to have to fight for it. And these soldiers do the most damage out of anything I've yet to encounter. All damage can be healed though. And after that fight, my T-51 power armor was nothing but dead weight in my inventory. So I swap it out for the Hellfire set. I didn't plan to get this, but this set of armor nearly triples my damage resistance as compared to the T-51 set. And plus, it also comes fully upgraded to its maximum level. And with all of the missions I've completed up to this point, I am now at level 28. So I put another level into Action Boy to increase my AP regeneration, and another level into Pain Train to increase my charging damage. And finally, I put 3 levels into both Armorer and Science, so that I can upgrade my power armor with the Explosive Vents mod. Although the damage description only reads that it increases falling damage, it has a hidden feature of increasing running attack damage by 100. I can say for sure that the damage is plenty better than it was before. Now, I believe it's time to find and kill the man who's kidnapped my child, and run straight into Fort Hagen, where I am ambushed by synths. But it's really not my problem, as I can run past all of them, right up until I can confront Kellogg himself. The strategy here is holding W to run, and holding Shift to sprint. That's it. Kellogg and his extra synths don't really pose a threat to me at all. With my Hellfire power armor, they barely deal any damage to me, and the damage I deal to him could really not be any worse. And plus, He has 2 stim packs. Why does this boss heal his HP? So yet again, another boss fight is nothing but repeatedly bashing my skull against a human-shaped wall until it breaks. With Kellogg's brain carefully extracted, I head to Good Neighbor to go through the most enjoyable section of Fallout 4. And I head into the glowing sea for 2 reasons: to find Virgil and to find another battalion of Enclave soldiers. On my journey there, I get harassed by a colony of flies, skid past the Deathclaw, and encounter Bethesda's least buggy NPC. I do eventually land up in the Enclave outpost, where I take out an entire fleet of soldiers, including some in power armor. Although I can't use their weapons, they do go for a lot of caps, so I take everything anyways. The one thing I can't kill, however, is their vertibird. Unfortunately, the one place I can't run on is air, and this Enclave mission requires us to kill the entire Enclave fleet, including the vertibird. So unfortunately, the Enclave wins this one, and the mission will remain incomplete. So I end my journey in the glowing sea with Virgil, and he tells me to kill an Institute courser all the way at the top of Green Tech Genetics. I could do that, but I want to upgrade my power armor one last time, and to do that, we have to get both the armorer and science perks to level 4, and I can only do that once I'm level 41. So once again, I take to the streets and heed the golden rule of the wasteland, and after countless hours spent playing Todd's most mediocre creation, I finally reach level 41, where I firstly have to put a level into both armorer and science, as well as 3 levels into Bloody Mess for 15% more damage. And unfortunately, the final level of Pain Train is locked behind level 50, and I've already spent too much time on this one playthrough. But the damage we do now is more than enough, and it's about to receive a huge boost. Remember when I said I can't run in the air? I lied, as with the jetpack, anything is possible. Although we still can't reach vertibird levels of airtime, the boost we get from the jetpack is enough to demolish anything below us. So we head into Green Tech's Genetics, run past all of the fodder, and greet the courser with 5 big booms. The thing with a jetpack is that in order to get enough height to actually damage someone, we are going to have to expend most of our AP. So this fight consists of booming, waiting, and repeating. All the while, the courser fights back in futility. Each big boom, however, does more than double the damage of a running charge attack. So that's one upside of the many downsides. I'm probably still gonna charge in with my charging attack instead of the jetpack. I give the courser trip to the railroad, and they help me build a teleporter into the Institute. And once inside the Institute, I find my son. I'm the leader of the Institute. Why does he look like that? And he's saying he's my son? Well, he's got his mother's eyes. So I reluctantly talk to him.
It seems her death was an unfortunate bit of collateral damage.
Collateral damage? That's my wife he's talking about. So I believe it's time we played a little prank on him. And by prank, I mean that I organize an entire synth rebellion from the inside, have his top scientist killed by synthetic gorillas, and convince him to let me take over his position as overseer of the Institute. You should wait until the end to see my best prank yet. But first, the Brotherhood of Steel is becoming a thorn on my side, as not only did they infiltrate the railroad, but they also can't be damaged by my jetpack slam, which really annoys me. So I take down one of their command bases and steal a vertibird, which would have been a quicker process if Deacon didn't forget how to jump. But we head inside their blimp and inconspicuously plant bombs in the Pridwin, and after a hasty escape, we see it all come crashing down. Now with the Brotherhood out of the picture, the Institute will be no more. And as I begin the rebellion to take over the Institute, and slowly dismantle all of the Institute's synths, there's no rush. It's not like I planted a bomb on their nuclear reactor or anything. And after multiple minutes of killing their strongest synths, and some innocent scientists, I finally clear everyone out and say goodbye to my son. Goodbye, Institute. Thank you for making it to the end of my video. If you liked it, make sure to subscribe. I'm trying to make it to 100 subscribers, and you could be a part of that journey too. Make sure to check out my other content, as I post one video every 2 weeks. So I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!